Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Live in Translators. My name is Dmitry Kornyukhov. I'm your host. Unfortunately, my amazing co-host Yelena Tereshenkova is not going to join us tonight because Yelena is traveling to Prague for a Translators conference. So it's just going to be me and my guest Simon Akhrameev. He's a English-Russian translator from Bishkek. He's specializing in marketing translation, website localization, and technical translation. And he also has a very popular blog for freelance translators at Rus Translator Pro or .pro.
Russian Translator.pro.
Russian Translator.pro. Tonight we will be talking about websites for translators. It's the topic of our conversation. Why do we need one, and how can a translator get a website, and why it is important to have a website. And Simon is going to share his experience of building his personal website. Okay, Simon, please introduce yourself and tell us a few things about yourself.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Simon. Dmitry has already introduced me, so principally I have little things to say about me, little things to add. I graduated from local university in 2010 with a degree in translation and linguistics. Actually, it was a degree in Russian, English, and German linguistics. So I started to work as a translator in early 2007. So I was a freelance translator for already 9 years now. I've been translating for several local companies, primarily mining companies, and one of the companies noticed me, and I worked as an in-house translator for three and a half years. So then I shifted back to freelancing, and now I'm a full-time freelancer, offering translation services, localization services, and also running a blog about translation. So principally that's.
So how did that happen? How this shift from in-house work to freelance work happened? When was the time when you realized that you want to be a freelance translator rather than in-house translator?
So actually it was on my third year of working as an in-house translator. I understood that I hit a ceiling in this company. So we had a not a big translation department. There were 6 of us. I started as a regular, as an ordinary technical translator, and then the department manager promoted me to the position of senior translator. So I was the second person in the department after her. Then I understood that there is no room for development in this company, and I decided to quit my job and get back to freelancing. And this is really cool, actually.
So, and what was very hard to transition from working in the office to full-time being at home?
No, actually, I've got prepared to this. For this to happen. I started working part-time freelancing for about three months before I left the company. So I got used to this crazy schedule of freelancing and in-house translation together, and it was really easy for me to shift to freelancing for full day.
And when you decided to become a freelancer, did you have a website from day one, or is this something you realized you'll need somewhere down the road?
No, I didn't have a website right from the first day of shifting back to freelancing. So I decided to create my first website for business only about 6 months after I've been working on freelance.
And how did you come to this conclusion that you need a website?
So actually, you were one of the reasons.
Seriously,
yes.
you are not, because you are not the first person who tells me that. I think Elena also was inspired by a couple of my articles about web development for translators. I think you is too. Or I might be mistaken. Okay, so yeah,
So yes,
that's
you were
exciting.
one. You were one
Mm-hmm.
among those people who inspired me for creating this website. So actually, I had a website which I tried to develop and promote, but
Mm-hmm.
actually, I understood that I chose the wrong way to promote it and to develop it. That's why after reading your posts, I focused on business website development, read a lot of useful articles, blog posts about this topic, and then I decided to create another website from scratch. And here you go. You can see how RussianTranslator.pro goes. And it's doing pretty well right now.
Mm-hmm. So, and why is it important to have a personal website from your point of view?
So actually, there are many reasons why you may need to create your personal website. The first reason is that you need a kind of representation office, online office or online headquarters. And internet
Mm-hmm.
offers vast opportunities for promotion of translation services, where website is a perfect launching pad. So of course you may use third-party platforms, which we were talking about today, for example, pros.com. But in one of my posts, I wrote that it's not a good way to conduct business on the rented land. And these
Yeah.
third-party platforms is nothing but a rented land. And if you apply some efforts to promote your profile on these third-party platforms, you actually all your efforts add CEO value only to the main domain, the primary domain, for example, pros.com or a category, not directly to your profile. And thus you spend almost all your promotion efforts in vain, like this.
So basically, you're saying that if we are to use various platforms for translators, like for example pros.com or TM-Town or even the Open Mic, basically we are promoting these platforms and not our businesses, and
Only
it would be better.
only partially, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that we may use these third-party platforms to attract more traffic to your personal website.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is actually the Open Mic doing right now. So,
Mm-hmm.
based on my website statistics, the Open Mic is one of the best referral that drives traffic to RussianTranslator.pro. And of course, you may register a profile on other platforms like pros.com, Translators Cafe, and so on. And you may place a link to your website just to increase the overall amount of links leading to your website, like this.
So getting back to the basics of rebuilding a website,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people see website development as a very complex and very technical thing, and most of them are right. It can be very difficult sometimes. So, and many translators are not technical specialists. I'm not a technical specialist.
Mm-hmm.
I always find it very hard to figure out how things work. So, if someone wants to build a website, where do they start? What should be the step-by-step process? What's the starting point?
So I have to note that it's not that difficult as you may think. So you as a website developer probably can agree with me. When I started my first website, I almost had no any coding skills. The only thing I knew that time was HTML, just basic HTML basics that I learned during my university. We have HTML course. That's all. But when I started my first website, I just tried to search for some information on the web, and I was lucky to find WordPress CMS, and then I tried to search for some information, some courses to learn more about it, and actually I understood that you don't need any special skills to start a website. The only thing you need to know is just a language. if you can read, you can find the relevant information and start it. And now, so the things are so easy that you can just install WordPress in just one click. Yes, it's pretty easy. You just go to a hosting provider website, purchase hosting, purchase domain name, click install WordPress, and here you are. Your website will be live and running in about 5 minutes, just like this. So, but when I started, I actually went on a more complex road, if I can say like this. I downloaded CMS package. So principally, if you are not aware about WordPress at all, so there are two versions of website: WordPress.com and WordPress.org. The first one is the kind of social platform where you can create just a blog on a third level domain name. Yeah, it's free for the entire life. And I downloaded PHP package of PHP files, and actually I installed it on my local host, local PC, and tried to test it. Then when my first website was ready, I uploaded to the hosting, and it was rather complicated procedure. I would never recommend anyone who...
Yeah, I think a lot of people already lost track after you started explaining it. Yeah.
So principally, what you should know about starting a website, it's not that complicated. It's now it's really easy. So when we finish this episode, and when you post, I know that you will be posting it on the open mic. I will provide several links where you can just go and learn about WordPress more and learn how to install it as well.
Yeah, and I think we might reference some of my past blog posts as well, because I also explained a few things about WordPress. So basically, WordPress is not your website, right? WordPress is just a piece of software that you install. So, and before you can install it somewhere, you need something called a domain name. Can you talk about what a domain name is, and what's a good domain name, what's a bad domain name?
Okay.
And what kind of domain name can a translator get?
Okay, so principally, what is a domain name? Domain name is a web address that you type into your browser address line, address bar, and that leads to a certain web server. Actually, selecting a domain name is a really interesting but time-consuming procedure. You should take into account many parameters when choosing it. First, your domain name can be your brand name, actually, and you should decide whether you create a new brand name or just use already existing your full name, like first name and something else. For personal translation website, I would recommend using a combination of at least two words, and this word should be at least a translation or translator, and probably your language combination, or just one language, or probably it also could be an area of specialization. For example, GermanLegalTranslator.com. This would be a good way to start your first website. Then you should also
check it if it's not taken.
Yes, if it's not taken, I had to mention it also. So since the internet was created a pretty long time ago, and it exists as we know it, in a form that we know it for almost 20 years, it will be really hard to find sexy domain name which is not occupied, which is sexually vacant. But now you can choose not only the second level domain name, but the primary zone. For example, .com. This is the first level domain name and the domain zone. when choosing your domain name, you should consider your target audience. For example, if your website will be only for local audience, you would better choose the country level domain. For instance, I have another website running in Bishkek, only for Bishkek audience in Kyrgyzstan, actually. And this website ends with .kg, which is the country code. So if you're running website for UK, you will choose .uk. If you run it for Canada, it will be .ca, yes?
Yeah.
And so on. So another thing to consider here is custom domain names. For example, .pro, the one I chose for my website. So there are special first level domain names that indicate specialization, actually, or probably referring to certain domain of expertise. For instance, you may create a website with domain yourname.club, or your domain name.me, and it will also have some specific meaning. For instance, you have seen many websites ending with .com, which is actually common, or previously it was a commercial website. This domain was for commercial websites. So principally, these are the basics for choosing domain name. And also, you should keep your domain name very short, so it shouldn't be 5 or 6 or 7 words. It should be remarkable and clear for your target audience. So you should also keep in mind that people will read your domain name.
So basically, choosing a domain name is probably one of the most time-consuming processes.
Yes.
And I think it requires a lot of thought process before you can even go ahead and register that, and a lot of research skills to make sure it's not taken. And I think there is also one interesting thing I've noticed with my personal domain, which is bestrussiantranslator.com. The words you choose in the domain name, they actually play a very important role when it comes to search engine optimization. So
yes, you're right.
After I created a website about 2 years ago for my personal translation business and started blogging consistently, I also noticed that I started to rank higher for a Russian translator or best Russian translator just simply by typing this combination of words, which is from when I was thinking about this was something that my clients might be looking on Google, right? They might be looking for Russian translator or best Russian translator. That's why I came up with my domain name. So I think it's very important to find a balance between a domain name that is short, yet that is something that clients, and informative, that's something that clients might be looking for. And this is a very tiny step. Domain name is a very tiny step, but it's a very important one, because this is how you will be known. This is something that you will be putting on your business cards, or this is something that you will be promoting on social media. So I agree with Simon that a website is like a digital equivalent of a personal office. So, and you have to take it seriously. Okay, so moving on to the next question. So now we have a domain name. And it is great. This is something our clients are looking for. It is short, it is sweet, we like it, it's brandable. What is the next step? We're probably gonna need something called hosting. Can you?
Yes, we need something that is called hosting.
Can you tell us a little bit about hosting? What is it? Why do we need it? And how to get it?
So briefly, you need some space, some online storage where you can put all these files of your website. In our case, it's WordPress CMS files. So the hosting is principally a remote server or several servers, or in many cases, it's just a part of a server, or even a virtual server that contains these website files. You may purchase hosting services from many providers from around the world, but when you're selecting the hosting provider, you should also consider several main rules select them. And principally, I found 3 rules that you should follow. The first one is server uptime. Uptime is a very important parameter. So it means reliability or accessibility of servers of your hosting provider. So principally, not all providers can ensure 100% accessibility. And for instance, my hosting provider ensures about 99.6%, and it's quite acceptable for not loaded internet projects. I think that personal website is not a very loaded project. The OpenMic has completely another requirements.
Yeah, the OpenMic is where I spent hundreds of dollars each month on hosting alone.
Yes,
but personal website can be not very expensive in terms of hosting,
yes,
because you have to pay for hosting on a monthly or yearly basis, right?
Yes, on a monthly or yearly basis, and actually paying on a yearly basis is cheaper as usually. So the next thing to consider when you choose this the hosting provider, is hosting speed. Hosting speed is the second important thing. It consists of 3 parameters. The speed of PHP scripts, so WordPress CMS consists of PHP files called that includes PHP code, and the properly written, properly coded PHP files, they should work really swiftly, really fast. The second parameter in hosting speed is the speed of database. Database is I think everyone knows what is database. Database will store all the data of your website. So if PHP script is something that processes the information and serves to reflect information on your screen, database includes all the data like texts, links, user data, and so on and so forth. So if your database is working very fast, your website will work fast as well. And the second or the third point in hosting speed is overall site loading speed. Actually, there are many tools that can test this overall site loading speed, and this probably is the second important issue for search engine optimization, because Google search engine and other search engines, they take into account these speed parameters to rank your website either higher or lower on the search ranking page, like this. So, and also the last one thing I think important when you choose hosting provider, before purchasing his services, you should find out location of main servers. For instance, if you're going to launch a website for European audience, you'd better choose a hosting provider with servers located in Europe. So if you're aiming at the US audience, you should choose provider with servers located in US. Maybe it's not the most important thing, the most important part of the process of selecting hosting provider, but it has a certain role also.
Yeah. So let's talk about the cost. So right now we have a domain name, a sexy looking domain name that our clients would click on and find us easily. And now we're also paying for a hosting, which is like renting an office in downtown of your town. So in terms of cost, how much we are paying right now?
So actually you pay around $12 per year for your domain name, if it's a .com domain name. And around $6 or $8 per month for your hosting.
So that's relatively cheap, right?
Yes, that's really cheap. So
many people see web development as something that can be very expensive, and as at this point, buying a domain name and getting a hosting company is not a very huge investment, and
yes,
a lot of
it's about $100 US. per year.
Mhm. So, okay, now we have a name for our online business. Now we have an office for our online business, but we need to do probably some decorations, right?
Yes.
Because there is nothing yet on this domain name. It's probably just gonna redirect to some random hello page without any kind of information. How can a translator create a website that looks great, that attracts clients, and what are the step-by-step process here?
So the next step will be creating a visual shell for your website. You have several options in this case. WordPress supports the thing that is called theme. Actually, this is your visual shell. You may select either free theme, which you may find on WordPress repository, or you may purchase a paid theme. So it will be also a one-time payment. Probably, let's say it will cost you about $60 US. Of course, when you start your first website, you probably want to minimize your costs. And for the first time, you may select a free theme. But I should say that free themes are very limited in functionality, in terms of functionality. And it is better to purchase a premium theme from a prominent developer, for example, Theme Forest or Elegant Themes. They are producing really wonderful and interesting and awesome things that are very flexible in terms of customization, and you don't need coding skills. So principally, now I have two themes. I purchased one from Elegant Themes and another from Theme Forest, and both of them have easy to use visual drag and drop editors. So principally, you create a page and you have a set of elements, ready-made elements. You just drag and drop an element and start building your web page, and it's really interesting and like you are doing cool design things. Well, when you drag and drop, then update your front end page or website and see how it actually looks for your visitors. It's really cool and nothing too complicated.
So, and WordPress make it easy for people who don't have any kind of experience or don't have any kind of technical
Yes.
knowledge to be badass coders, right?
Yes, WordPress is rather user-friendly content management system. So principally, you will get into it in just a couple of hours. So everything is very intuitive. You have a certain sections in your admin panel, your dashboard. You just read and you understand what you should do with them.
Mm-hmm. I think we also should note that when you work with WordPress, you as the owner of the website, you'll have a thing called backend.
Yes.
So it's basically like a developer dashboard where you will see all the information about your website. You'll have sections about your pages, section about your posts, sections about your comments, again, sections about your theme, which is customizable and which helps you to choose what kind of theme are you using, and many other settings. And depending on your level of knowledge, you'll be able to choose any kind of settings you want. Either you want just do some minor development, or you can go very deep and even start coding something. So I think WordPress in that way is very user friendly and oriented on people who have no background in web development at all. For example, when I started developing my website, which was bestrussiantranslator.com. I had no experience. I had no idea what the domain name was. I had no idea what a server was. So I had to learn everything. And what really helped me is watching videos. Watching videos, there are literally millions of videos. You go to YouTube and just type something as simple as WordPress for dummies, and there you have it. You'll see a million of videos with a lot of technical detail, and then you just have to do what Paul Jarvis calls copy and paste programming, or where you just have to follow the explanations very carefully. And I think in that way, WordPress is very a beautiful platform. So okay, right now we have a name for our business. Simon, are you here? Okay, it seems like we lost Simon for a moment. All right, we had a little technical difficulties during our blab, so some problems with internet. Sorry about that. We are resuming our conversation with Simon Akhrameev. He's a English-Russian translator from Bishkek, and we are talking about websites for translators. So far we talked about such things as hosting, domain name, and using WordPress themes to make your website looks good. So the most logical step here, I think, to talk about content, right?
Talk about content. Okay, so why not?
Because you have a website, you have let's say you spend some time to figure out how everything works. You built it, you designed it, you write a few content blogs about yourself, your services, and how to contact you. But I think many people who done that probably noticed that it doesn't generate lots of new customers right away, right?
Sure.
And we need a way to figure out how to make your website popular, how to help people find it. And I think one of the ways is to make sure your website has some fresh and interesting content or a blog. So Simon, can you talk about this a little bit and explain how it works?
Okay, so 10, maybe 15 years ago, it was enough just to create a website with a single page that would contain all information about your business. For example, who you are, what are you doing, what are you offering, what are your fields of specialization, and put your contact number, email, and that's all. And probably someone will find you. But with the development of internet, it is not enough just to have a single page website. You should actively promote it on the web. And there are actually many ways to do that. The first and the most important thing that you should do is to create a content plan. Because without regular updates for your website, you will never get a stable stream of traffic. So, and actually, we have already talked about search engine optimization for your domain name. Domain name is the first step in your SEO efforts. The second step should be creating a keyword map. So you should identify your ideal client and try to search for the keywords that your clients are searching for on the web. There are special tools, keyword finders, that will help you to find these keywords. Based on these keywords, you will be able to create a content plan that will probably meet the expectations of your possible clients, of your potential clients. Then when you have your content plan created based on the keywords, you may start writing content for your website. For instance, you may post as regular as once per week, or as regular as 2 times per week. Actually, you should post at least once per month. This is the minimum required periodicity of posting. So it seems to me that at least once per month, every person can write something within a month and post an update on the website. So when you have all these things created, you start posting. And actually, there is a kind of formula how to promote your content. The time you spend for promoting your content should equal to the time you spend for creating this content. Actually, if you are going to write a 1,000 word article that will take you, let's say, 3 hours, then you have to spend 3 hours on promoting this article after you post it, because no one will just come to your site from nowhere. You should promote it after you post it. For instance, you shall create pages or at least profiles on main social networks. This is Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, probably LinkedIn, and several others. For instance, I post my updates from my blog into 15 social networks, and this is just the first step of yes.
Thanks a lot. And Simon, I have a personal business, a translation business. I also have the open mic, and I have less social networks than you do.
So there are special tools that will automate this process. Actually, this is not that scary thing. Once you have set up all this process, it will run very smoothly. Actually, so when you post this, when you post your updates from the blog into all these social networks, you just need to do the same thing with each new update, and this is only the one thing you should do. The next thing you should consider when you're going to promote your website is guest blogging. So probably you have heard about this if you read some blog posts of other authors. Blog posting or guest blogging is sorry, it's my cat here disturbing.
Yeah, get over here, get him here.
Okay.
You're gonna be our third guest tonight.
Yes, sir.
Is this Stitch or is it?
No, it's Castiel.
Castiel.
Well, I stop at guest blogging. Many bloggers welcome guest blogging. So, for instance, if you have something to say, you may find guest blogs about translation or things which are related to translation business, and find connection with the website admin, and probably make friends with him, share his or her posts on Facebook, actively comment on his website, and then probably he or she will agree to post your content on his blog on her blog, and that's how you will get a new link to your website. Usually, guest bloggers, they put a link to a certain website or a post, and this will increase your overall search engine ranking, and also bring some traffic. Also, another way to get some more traffic to your website. When you have a lot of content already published, let's say 20 articles, so you have a really good base to start with email marketing. And for these purposes, you need to install special plugins that will help you to attract attention of your users and grab their emails. And many pro bloggers, they actually say that email traffic is one of the most useful traffic. Getting emails from your visitors is one of the most important things you should do on your website. So just imagine that you have 500 or 1,000 email subscribers. You just, when you post your blog, you just hit a button and send your new information about your new blog post to 1,000 people. And usually half of them will open it and read it. So this is...
So that's also a very useful strategy for promoting
Yes.
your website and making it popular. Okay, so now we have a website. We have some content being created. When will it start generating money?
That's one of the most...
Because that's probably the only thing why we are building a website.
Yes.
If it's a digital equivalent of an office, there gotta be some walk-ins and people gotta be able to find us, people who actually need our services. So in terms of profitability, is the website a good idea for translators, or there are some requirements that you have to meet before it actually starts bringing in new clients?
I have to say that making money, real money from your website is not an easy thing. And it depends on the scales. Let me provide several examples. For instance, I already told about my personal website for local business. I set it up within 2 days. I bought local hosting, local domain name, installed WordPress, and prepared a single-page website with all necessary attributes like contact form and so on. Then I launched AdWords campaign. I paid $10 for 10 days, and I got my first client within 3 days or so. After a month of this advertising campaign, I spent about $30 and I earned around 200. So it seems to me that this is rather good rate of return. But this is for local business only. So if you want to start a website for local business, it will start bringing money in a shorter period of time. But if you are aiming at a larger international audience, you should consider that there are hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of translators who also promote their services on the web. And we should also not forget about translation companies, which invest maybe even millions of dollars in the online advertising. So everything depends on scale. If you want local business, you can start earning money just within several days. For instance, I'm not expecting a good rate of return from Russian Translator Pro for about a year ahead. So it's already 6 months old, and I had just about 2 or 3 leads, 3 contacts who contacted me via this website. On the other hand, I had about 25 customers from my local website. So that's the difference.
So it seems like it almost makes sense to focus on your local community, or maybe even promote within a specific area or a town,
Yes, sure. If you want to get a quick return, you should find your niche. If you are specializing in a very rare language pair, which is simultaneously rare and very competitive, you may create a website, run it, and you will get hundreds of orders just in several months of running a blog. If you are working in a very common language pair, right, like English Russian, it will be rather hard. So actually, to get real money from this website. So you either should concentrate on a certain locale, maybe even a city within a city, or probably on a certain specialization. For instance, I provide services for mining companies, and actually I have a lot of information and related to this sphere, and I've been working for almost 6 years in this field, and I can offer really good quality of translation. That will be a competitive advantage of my services. Then I can include it into my website and probably try to spread the word about it on a larger audience and try to compete with the big players in this field. So if you want to go global, you should specialize like this.
So, if I'm understanding you correctly, the best way for a website to start generating profit if you are specializing from day one and focusing on a specific narrow area in your town or maybe in your country. So this is probably the safest bet if you really want to start generating profit with the website.
Yes.
But on a larger scale, though, is it possible to still make it work?
Yes, but it will take a bit more time. So I regularly track the metrics, website metrics of Russian Translator Pro, and I already have several keywords that are ranked high on Google. For instance, if you type in professional Russian translator, exactly like this, probably you will see my website on the first page. It will be on maybe on the 6th place. But if you hit Russian translator just, my website will be on the 8th page of web search. So your site is on the 2nd page, actually. so
close enough.
But as I understood, you launched it about 3 years ago.
I think 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So you did a really good job. You overrun several big players, and you're on the 2nd page. You have just a few more efforts to add, and you will be on the 1st page. And the main thing here is to get to the 1st page. If you get to the 1st page, you will start getting clients. You just need to be patient, a bit patient, and work on your website. I believe that.
Yeah, I think.
Yes.
I think. I think the key here is not only be patient, but be persistent and know who are you looking for.
Yes.
You can't be a translator for anything. For example, my website right now needs a major redesign because if you go to my website, you'll probably see that it's really hard to tell what kind of translator I am. Kind of like a translator for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually not. For the past year, I've been gradually moving towards video game localization, and for almost a year now, all my projects are just video games. So I really need to redesign my website and reflect that, so it could attract a specific type of client that I'm looking for. So I think the key is to make sure that you know your specialization. Figure out before you start building it, and if you figure out later, adjust your website, because website, even though website seems like a static thing, actually it's not. It's supposed to be dynamic, and
Yes.
the more you progress, the more you develop, it should be reflected on your website. For example, if you had a new client and the client was very happy with your services, ask for a testimonial. Place it on your website, or maybe you can even do a case study, something that is very common, and I haven't seen many of them in our industry. I've seen a couple of examples of case studies where translators showcase how they helped a certain company reach certain goals. But I think overall a website is a good investment, but it's only for those who can be patient and persistent.
Yes. But anyway, when you get the first results, you will understand that it actually works, and your efforts worth it. So as I already mentioned before, you should find your ideal client, and as we talked about for 5 minutes ago, you should specialize. So you should combine finding your ideal client and specializing, and this is the key to attract the right people who will probably order translation from your website.
All right, so it's almost 1 hour, guys. Yeah, the time flies very fast on these blabs. I think we're gonna be wrapping things up. If you guys have any questions at all, you can use the chat window on the right-hand side, and we still got a couple more minutes before we go offline. So if you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask, and we'll be happy to answer them. Simon, thank you very much for joining us tonight and sharing all your expertise about your websites.
Thanks for inviting me too. So actually, I have a couple of words to say to add.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Of course.
So actually, there are several things I would like to share with you. There are things that you shouldn't do when you start a website. So you should never use free hosting providers. This is really terrific thing when you start your website with free hosting. So I tried free hosting providers, and they cannot offer relevant support. They cannot ensure properly uptime. Sometimes your website is not accessible from anywhere, and you just spend your efforts in vain if you use free hosting. Moreover, we have already told today that paid hosting is not very expensive. It's only $100 per year. So then don't use third-level domain names. So, for example, WordPress offers a free domain name, yourname.wordpress.com. This is not a good way to start your business website. If you are going to sell services or sell products online, you should purchase a really good second-level domain name. So then, don't use Flash animation on your website. So as far as I know, WordPress use only PHP and HTML, but there are embedded content that can probably use Flash. And if you use Flash on your website, be ready that people won't see a part of your content on other devices rather than PC. So also avoid complex navigation. For many people, many webmasters starting webmasters, they are trying to put everything in a header section of your website, and it will be really hard for a person to find out information on your website. Just keep it simple and clear to navigate, to help your users navigate through your website. Also, don't use background audio. So probably it's a good idea. It may seem a good idea for you, but it's not. Don't use background audio.
Yeah, why not put some nice melody on my website? Yeah, why not? and scare people to death.
Yes.
Who are not expecting this.
Also, you should avoid posting irrelevant content. So, for instance, if you are talking about translation, keep talking about translation. Don't post your photos from, for instance, from traveling to somewhere during summer. So also...
well, I have to disagree with you on this one. I think sometimes you can post some personal content as long as it's not too personal and not too detailed.
Yes, let's say don't post to personal things on your website. Keep it relevant. Let's say keep it relevant to the topic. Also, I would like to know that you shouldn't place third-party advertisement on your website. So if you're running a personal business and you place some advertisement, if you want to get some extra money, it's not a good idea. So people will see these ads and just go away from your website using these links. So you don't need this. You need to retain attention of your visitors. And also, don't afraid of experimenting, as Dmitry already mentioned. Your website is not a static page. It's a dynamically developing business. So keep on experimenting, try to find new approaches to attract clients, try different page layouts, different call to actions, different menus, different post types. You may use video posts, gallery posts, if it fits your website content strategy, and so on. And also, just a couple of things. Oh, it seems to me that we have a question here.
Yeah, we actually have a question. So Jill asks, how are you familiar with Joomla? I started with Joomla because WordPress used not to be very practical for multilingual websites, but I believe that's been solved now. I think it is. Would there be point to move into WordPress? I'm thinking perhaps in terms of search engine optimization.
I've tried both Joomla and Drupal and several other CMS, and actually I found WordPress is one of the most the most user-friendly and easy content management system, and at least I like it. And 25% of all internet websites use WordPress. It's a good statistic, really good statistics. So as for the multilingual websites, now you have several options. If you have a WordPress website, you can run either multi-site, run it in either multi-site regime. You can switch it on during installation, and you will have a copy. You may have created a copy of your website into another language, or use special plugins like WPLM plugin. In terms of SEO, yes, it seems that WordPress is one of the most powerful content management system that offers a wide variety of plugins for SEO purposes. So, for instance, I use Yoast SEO. It covers all necessary features that you need to establish a white hat SEO strategy for your website. So you may try to shift to WordPress and probably use it for a couple of weeks to get acquainted with it, and I think you're gonna love it more than Joomla.
Yeah, Lewis has a comment. He's been testing a WPLM plugin, and it's buggy for him. So yeah, I think there are plenty of different kind of plugins. The beauty of WordPress actually is that you can build anything you ever dreamed about on it using the thing called plugins. Plugins is like a piece of software, if we put it in simple terms, that you basically install on your website, and it creates some specific functionality. For example, you wanna create a very good-looking slider on your website with photos of all the people you work with, like Rolanda mentioned in the comments, putting pictures about politicians he provided his services to. So yeah, if you want to do this, you probably need either a theme that has integrated feature like this, or you can install a plugin. So, and WordPress has thousands, tens of thousands of plugins developed by different kind of developers. Some of them are very experienced, some of them are newbies, so you have to be very careful when you install a plugin because you never know who has developed it. So that's why you have to read reviews and what other people think about it and what kind of feedback actual users have for this plugin. I almost always use plugins that have at least 4.5 star out of 5.
Same do I.
Well, okay, because this is guarantees that nothing gets broken. And the open mic actually is built on WordPress, and it's insanity because it's like a social network for translators. And I built it on WordPress using a variety of different plugins. At some point, I'm going to write an article explaining everything I used on the open mic. There is a lot of plugins out there to the point where it's very hard to manage, and I'm probably going to be getting rid of them at some point in the future, because plugins also affect the speed of your website.
Yes.
So you don't want to have too many things installed. Okay. So yeah, WordPress. I think if you compare it to WordPress to other solutions for creating a personal website and blog, WordPress is probably the best choice. We might be biased. We might be biased because we both are using this service, so we might be biased. But according to the research, what's the percentage of the websites is powered by WordPress? I think
25% of all websites around the world.
All websites around the world
Yes.
are built on WordPress. Even I think New York
Times.
Also
yes, many larger publishers use this because it's really flexible. You can adjust WordPress to any purpose. So it can be a social network, it can be a magazine, online magazine, it can be a job board, it can be a forum, it can be anything you want it, anything you would like it to be.
Got another question from Jill. But are those plugins free on WordPress? Most of the useful ones on Joomla aren't, which was a bit disappointing too.
Actually, I'm using only one paid plugin, and it's for subscription. It's for email subscription. The other plugins are free or distributed on a freemium basis. So if you know what does it mean. So you may use it for free, but if you need some updates, you purchase these updates like this. So almost all other plugins are free. You can upload it from WordPress repository just for free.
Yeah. WordPress has a very great community built around it. So they have thousands of developers developing new plugins, new cool functionality almost on a daily basis. So anything you can think of have been developed for WordPress. So you want to build a social network, there you have it. There are plenty of plugins that will allow you to help build it. Just Google it, as banal as it sounds, and you'll find everything you need. You just want to type words like functionality, what kind of functionality you're looking for, WordPress, and plugin, and then you'll probably have at least a couple of options, either free plugins or premium plugins. I use a lot of premium plugins because I want to invest in the very best for the open mic, for example. But on my personal website on Best Russian Translator, I'm not using any paid plugins at all. So for translation business, you don't really need too many plugins. Maybe you can. The Simon was talking about WordPress themes, and the theme is the visual look of your website, but it also has some built-in functionality. So if you're looking for a professional website for a translator that has, for example, a section for testimonials with a sliding feature, or a section for photos, or anything you like, you might want to take a look at WordPress theme first and see if they offer this kind of functionality, because you maybe won't need any kind of plugins at all.
So yes, in many cases you purchase a theme, which actually I did, and that theme includes almost everything that I needed for my website. So I don't need to purchase anything else. The rest of plugins are free, and I use plugins for to ensure security of website. To attract new leads, new emails, new email subscribers, then comment section, and probably some of them for SEO, also additional SEO plugins. So that's all. There are around maybe 8 or 10 plugins I use. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for your question, Jill, and thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We have passed our 1 hour mark. Yay! So thanks again for everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope that you have learned something new today, and I really encourage you to try something, and don't be afraid to experiment. You have nothing to lose. As we find out in this blab, Simon told us that buying a domain name and buying your first hosting is relatively cheap, and you can start experimenting. You can start building a website pretty easily, and you don't need a lot of financial investment. All you need is time and patience.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right, Simon?
So thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Dmitry, for inviting me to this show. It was a really interesting experience for me. I think that probably I will join another episode, maybe in the season 2.
Yeah, you're always welcome as a guest, and all of you guys, actually, all of you who's watching this right now or who's watching this in a recording, you can actually be our guest anytime you like. Just go to our website, which is blabbingtranslators.com, and there is a button at the bottom. Just click I want to be a guest, or just email me. You can always find me on Twitter or Facebook or all the open mic. And if you want to be a guest, if you want to share a story, if you want to share your expertise or blab about anything you like, and bring a little bit of fun and value to the translation community, you are always welcome on our show.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks again for watching. Thank you, Simon, for being with us tonight, and we'll see you all next week.
Okay.
Thank you,
you
guys.
so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.